The Ohio Sovereignty Amendment, how it restrains government. Well, the Ohio Sovereignty Amendment is designed to do three primary things: mandate governmental compliance with the Constitution, punish public office holders who violate the Constitution, and protect Ohioans from all unconstitutional governmental mandates. The Ohio Sovereignty Amendment is a very aggressive yet peaceful solution for restoring constitutional government. It relies upon the rule of law and the sovereign authority of the people to establish legal mandates upon government. Ultimately, the people will be responsible for enforcement by holding government accountable by law through the institutions created for their protection. Freedom cannot survive unless it is vigilantly guarded, and the Ohio Sovereignty Amendment will, for the first time in the history of the free world, provide the mechanisms whereby the people can truly hold their government accountable by law. The Ohio Sovereignty Amendment is divided up into three primary parts. Part 1, Foundation of Sovereign Powers. Part 1 defines a relationship between Ohio government and the people of Ohio. It defines how the state receives its powers and authorities to act and what the state's fundamental duties are to the people. Part 2, Limitations on State Sovereignty. Part 2 defines general limitations imposed upon the state regarding its powers and authorities to act. These limitations are meant to restrain the powers of government to within strictly defined boundaries. Part 3, Preservation of Sovereignty. Part 3 defines how the Ohio Constitution will be protected, preserved, and enforced. It imposes new duties, grants new powers, and establishes new mandates, all of which are designed to protect the individual rights and liberties of the people from governmental encroachment. The Ohio Sovereignty Amendment, language of the amendment. As we begin our review of the actual language of the Ohio Sovereignty Amendment, there's a few things to keep in mind. The following slides provide a precept-by-precept presentation of the actual language of the proposed Ohio Sovereignty Amendment, separated by part, section, and subsection. The actual text of the amendment is featured in black text preceded by a red dot. Following the amendment text are comments in blue to describe the purpose, intent, and reasoning behind that portion of the amendment. These comments do not provide a comprehensive assessment, rather a brief glimpse into the relevant provisions. Though the Ohio Sovereignty Amendment is longer than some, there is nothing in it that the average person should not be able to comprehend and apply. As we break it down into individual precepts, we are sure you will grasp the fundamental importance of every one of them in preserving our rights and liberties. As far as we are aware, nothing like this has ever been done. This amendment is very direct and aggressive toward ensuring that our state government fulfill its duty to the people and maintains its integrity to the Constitution. You may discover an item or two that you have reservations about. Let me assure you that much effort has gone into the drafting of this amendment, and nothing has been added that is not necessary to protecting our freedoms. So here we go. The Ohio Sovereignty Amendment, Part 1, Foundation of Sovereign Powers. Section A, Purposes and Intent of the Ohio Constitution. The Ohio Constitution represents the voice and will of the citizens of Ohio for the establishment and operation of their state government. It constitutes the fundamental controlling instrument upon which all powers and authorities of the state are dependent, and without which the state shall not act. It secures and guarantees the individual rights and liberties of all people in Ohio, citizen or not. It operates as the supreme binding agreement upon all public servants while in performance of their public duties and responsibilities. Its intentions are to secure said rights and liberties with minimal governmental interference in the exercise thereof, to mandate the state's protection of said rights and liberties, and to mandate that Ohio government shall operate to assure the best interests of Ohio citizens for their happiness and prosperity, and shall have no interest of its own. Our intention is to make it perfectly clear that the state possesses no powers or authorities not granted by the people in their constitutions. The Constitution stands above all other authorities upon which the state has a duty to act. Laws and other governing provisions of the state do not take precedence over the constitutions, and the duty of public servants is to the Constitution first. The fundamental rights of all people are bestowed upon them equally by their Creator, and while in Ohio, shall be protected by the Ohio Constitution. Civil rights, which are bestowed by society, may or may not attach to those who are not Ohio citizens, depending upon their particular situation. The only purpose of government is to protect the individual rights and liberties of the people and to promote an environment for their society that ensures the people's happiness and prosperity. Ohio government, as an artificial entity created by the people, cannot and does not have any interest of its own. It is and shall always be a servant of and to Ohio citizens. Section B, Sovereignty of Ohio Citizens. Ohio citizens perpetually retain their individual and collective sovereignty over the state and their collective authority to alter or abolish government. The American system of government is unique among the developed nations of the world. Not only does it secure the individual rights and liberties of the people, but the people were placed above government. The people hold all the power, and collectively we define how our system of government shall operate. Sovereignty is that characteristic that defines the independence and authority of a people or nation among the other peoples and nations of the world. It is our right of self-determination and conscience to exercise our freedoms and to control such institutions that are within our power to create. We believe that in order to protect our rights and freedoms, the people must remain sovereign over government. This was the vision of the Founding Fathers, and it is among the blessings bestowed by our Creator. Section C, Sovereignty of the State. Ohio perpetually retains its sovereignty over the federal government. It is a principal duty of the state of Ohio to exercise all measures appropriate under the circumstances to protect the people in Ohio from all unconstitutional interference by the federal government or its agents. Under the federal Constitution, the states retained their independent sovereign status in all matters not expressly delegated to the federal government. Ours is a union of independent states operating as a federalist system. Throughout our history, there has been a concerted effort by some to pervert our federalist system into that of a nationalist state, whereby the states would relinquish their independence to a national, all-powerful central government. To protect our heritage and the fundamental principles upon which the Union was established, we proclaim that Ohio shall always retain its sovereign status over the federal government and shall act to protect its citizens from federal encroachments. Section D, General Duty of the State. The state of Ohio shall operate solely as a free and independent republic and within the Union of Federated States comprising the United States of America. And its government shall faithfully, diligently, and prudently exercise all powers and authorities granted to it by this Constitution. The state is prohibited from acting in any capacity except as a free and independent republic form of government. It shall always remain within the Union of States unless the citizens of Ohio decide themselves to alter or abolish it accordingly. The government has a duty to operate according to the constitutions, be thorough and expedient in its operations, and to spend the people's money wisely. All powers granted to government must be exercised. Section E. Fundamental rights defined. The fundamental rights of every man and woman in Ohio are life, liberty, property, the pursuit of happiness, and other protections secured by this Constitution, which are common to all, absolute, and necessary in the ordinary course of life, and shall not be deprived, abrogated, or encumbered through any form of licensure, taxation, event, conduct, or legislation by the state or its political subdivisions. Nor shall such rights be subject to or deprived by waiver. All fundamental rights shall be equally administered and enforced without prejudice or favoritism or regard to civic class or status. Our fundamental rights attach to each of us by our mere existence as a blessing from our Creator God, and as such, they are unalienable, inviolate, and indefeasible in nature, except for punishment resulting from the abuse of such rights and only in accordance with due process of law. They remain fully endowed to us whether or not we claim them. Section F. States' authority over commerce. Preservation of the people's fundamental rights shall not be construed to defeat the state's delegated authority to regulate or extract excises on commerce conducted in pursuance of profit or gains, or matters of luxury or excess, as shall be defined by law. We recognize that the state must have the means for raising revenue in support of its proper functions of government. Such means shall not interfere with or encroach upon the people's fundamental rights as exercised in their ordinary course of life. However, for the purposes of commerce, where profits and gains are realized, and for matters of luxury or excess, where the wealth of the people far exceeds the necessities for life and comfort, the taxing powers of the state should reasonably attach. Because direct taxes are destructive to the fundamental rights of the people, we believe that taxation should all be based on consumerism and commerce. We note that commerce is not the same as free trade, the latter of which occurs in the form of services or barter in pursuit of the ordinary course of life. Commerce, on the other hand, is the exchange of goods through the institutions created through government, such as corporations and other organizations whose pursuits are profit or gain.